Dr. Martin here again. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. Hopefully you were able to communicate your love and appreciation for your mother or other mothers in your life. This week we are going over PowerPoint. And we're going to do PowerPoint for this week only, and next week is our final week. So be sure you have all your late assignments turned in. If you don't know if you have late assignments, and it's a good time to check your grades and read any comments I left for you, especially on missing assignments and assignments where you did not receive full points. Okay? So, PowerPoint is a great way to deliver reports, show visuals, show data, and a little bit of text. It's not meant to be a long Word document that you paste into PowerPoint and add some pictures to. In fact, minimal text in PowerPoint is best, and then you expound on that text as you make your presentations. Most of the time, PowerPoint is always meant for a presentation, either a live presentation or a recorded presentation showing the scenes. You'll see a lot of times that even in them books we have PowerPoints for books, but those are always meant to be used by an instructor. Okay, so we'll talk about designing and structuring our PowerPoint presentations so they are visually appealing, organized, and have the appropriate amount of data, and then how to add speaker notes as you give your presentation. As you build your presentation, it's a good idea to add those speaker notes while you're thinking about it, so that when you give your presentation, you are prepared. Okay, so let's jump right in it. As always, we will start at the Shasta College homepage. We will go to the Shasta portal and log in. You'll come to My Apps, you'll click on Canvas, and you'll go to our course, CIS 1, and it'll bring you to the course page. All right, so here we are at week 7, and we have an overview here, of course, and then we'll have our mini lectures and our PowerPoint assignments. This is what we're doing this week. Okay, so let's look at what our PowerPoint assignment requests. Well, we're going to create our brand new original PowerPoint. We are going to create 3 to 5 slides. Each slide should include a title and some content. Your slides should have a theme, and I'll show you how to select the theme, and we'll do that in this first video. You should have in each slide you should be clear. It should be clear and readable. Don't add too much text. Use proper spacing. If you're going to have at least one visual required, a picture, an image, or a chart, it must in some way relate to the content of your presentation. And on every slide, explain the slide in a way how you would present it to others. So you're going to add speaker notes, add detail beyond the text that you would say. We're going to save it as a PowerPoint file and export it to PDF, and then you'll submit those 2 files with a proper name format. Okay? So let's get started. Now, in order to get to PowerPoint, we go to My Apps, click on these buttons right here, and then you're just going to click on PowerPoint. And it will open up a blank PowerPoint presentation, and it'll open up, well, the PowerPoint application, and you're going to click on blank presentation. Okay? Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the name. And if you remember the assignment instructions, right? Last name, first name, week 7. Right, so we're going to say Martin for me, Tom, week 7. Okay. So now here we are at our first slide, and we have a title, and we can click to add subtitle. Oh, look, first, oh, look, our name updated. We should first make sure we know where we're saving this to. So let's click on the little cloud here and go to Documents. This is going to take us to our OneDrive. We're going to click on My Files. Oh, it's taking me to this wrong OneDrive. Let's sign in with my actual college account. Ta-da! Files, CIS Spring 2026. And you know what we're going to do. We're going to create a folder for week 7. Try this again, week 7. Create. And then back to files. We just created a PowerPoint. So we are going to delete that here, and we're going to go inside week 7. We're going to create a new PowerPoint. And I'm doing this inside week 7 because if you remember when I first opened the PowerPoint cloud here that it was connected to, it was connected to a personal account. So I'm going to have to change the title again. Yours is not going to have that problem unless you're already logged into a Microsoft account on your own. But now you know how to do it. Okay, so let's save it. Okay, so now it's saved. We know it's in the right folder. Now we're going to pick a theme. So if we go to the Design tab on the ribbon, and again, I'm going to drop this drop arrow down at the end of the ribbon. I'm going to choose Classic Ribbon. Right, that just shows all the icons available on each tab. I'm going to go to the Design tab, and here in this first box are your themes. And so click this here, and you can look at the different themes that are available. I'm going to choose this theme right here. I like it. I like blue. It looks to me both like these lines could be folded in and up, or that they could be folded out toward me and down. So it's kind of cool little 3D illusion. And since it's Mother's Day today when I'm making this video, I'm going to make my presentation about my mother. Some of the things, when I think about my mom, I think about her being independent. I mean, yes, we all have our friends and family that we rely on for a support system, but she was fairly independent. When she learned how to do things for herself, she did them for herself, and she even taught other people how to do those things. And she always believed that it was up to oneself to make yourself responsible for the choices and actions in your life that should lead you to being able to support your family. And she was strong. We had challenges. We didn't have a lot of money when I was a kid, and some of those things were challenging. She had some challenging medical conditions after having kids that affected her, still affects her. And she dealt with her mother having Alzheimer's, and she even dealt with, issues with challenges with the kids, maybe me in particular. One of the other things she was a visionary. Now I say this because she envisioned for us a better life, than her and my father had. Not that our life was terrible, but she wanted something better. My parents never graduated from college until until later in life. My dad finally went back to college and got a teaching credential. But she would always say things like, when you go to college, or when you serve a mission for our church, when you get married, when you have kids, when you become a good father and a good mother, when you become get a great job, when you finish your graduate degree or whatever it was, she had this vision for us that helped us know what we were capable of. Okay, so that's my slide. So after that, we can click on Insert, New Slide. Okay, and a new slide comes up. Now, the first slide is called the title slide, and the second slide is the content. So I'm going to have at least 3 additional slides, one for independent, strong, and visionary. First, I think I want to add a picture. Just call it my mom. And I'm going to insert a picture from this computer. And I just found this one online. And I thought it was cool. So that's my mom here. That's her dad, so my grandfather. And this is my youngest child, my only daughter, Ellie. And that fit and handsome guy there used to be me. Now, if you look over on the left-hand side, you'll see that there are several different ways for you to change this slide layout. You can have the picture over the icon, you could have double icons. I'm going to choose this one where the picture is on one side and then the text is on the other side. And what did it say this picture was taken in? 2010, so that was 16 years ago. My grandfather lived till he was 93, and if you look at this picture, you'll see he doesn't have hardly any gray hair. It never dyed his hair. He just didn't really have a lot of gray hair, and so hopefully those good genes will flow into me. So one of the things I want to add are a few traditions that my mom carried over from her family. So I'm going to go back to the home tab here. And I want to, it says click to add text, but you'll notice that the text starts in the middle of the page. I don't want that. So I'm going to go to alignment. I want the slide alignment. I want the text at the top of the text box, and I want it aligned to the left. Okay, so we carried on traditions from her family, and I'm going to type this down at the bottom. This is our first speaker note. Hopefully you can, let me see if I can move this up a little bit so you can see those speaker notes down there. So we carried along traditions from her family. And as we were growing up, my grandfather created new traditions, like when grandparents come over, they bring ice cream. Yes, even on a school night. And I think Tommy probably wants me to add a comma there. And that's something my grandparents always did. Every time they came over, and even on a school night, they would bring over ice cream. So it was always fun when they visit. Okay, on Christmas, we waited for grandparents. And when I say that, I mean two grandparents. So we waited to open presents. Now we could get into our stocking, but we had to wait until everyone is awake. Like, so as kids, we could get up as early as we wanted, and we could open our stocking, but we couldn't open a single present. And then we'd have to wait until my parents got up and everyone else got up. And then as soon as everyone was awake, then we'd call our grandparents, so they only lived a few miles away, and then we'd eat breakfast while our grandparents came over. Now, I didn't spell presents. I didn't spell presents right down here. Presents. Okay, let's go back up here. We took turns sleeping over at grandparents. And my mom did the same thing with her grandkids. And I think a lot of it is, that grandma and grandpa can focus on one child and have a special day for them. It might also be that the parents need a break from a particular child, but you don't learn that until you're older, and that's okay. All right, so these are the traditions my mom carried over from her family. Okay, so I'm gonna enter in a new slide. So insert new slide. Now there is a drop down button by the new slide, and it shows all the different slide layouts. Well, my slide layouts are really gonna have a title and some content. All right, I got my picture already, so now I can add title and content. Okay, so I'm going to start titling these the three things that I talk about my mom: independent, strong, and visionary. Okay, so we're going to start first with independent. And then again, it seems like all of this, the text is centered in the middle. I want it centered in the top. Okay, so my mom always had a job. Now these are by far part-time jobs. I think the only time she got a full-time job is after all the kids had graduated from high school. And so she had a part-time job. So we'd go off to school and she'd do her part-time job, and she'd be home by the time we got home from school. And before we went to school, she stayed home with us. And I thought that was something pretty special. I felt like we were important enough for her that she wanted to do this. Now, a lot of people make other decisions, other arrangements, but for us, I felt lucky to have my mom home. And when I was married, me and my wife had a discussion, and we had talked about how both of our moms stayed home. And then when we started to go to school, they started to work. And then when we were done with high school, then got a full-time job. And so, I asked my wife, well, what do you want to do? Do you want, by that time she had her bachelor's degree. And she could have had a full career in teaching and gone on to do whatever she wanted. And she said, well, I want to stay home with the kids. And so she went to work as a teacher before we started having children, and then stayed home. And for me, it's been amazing. I've never had to worry about where my kids were and who was teaching them. And I know my wife would do the best with that. Now, that can't always happen in every situation, and I recognize that, and I think that's part of why I felt pretty lucky, pretty blessed. That's what my wife wanted to do, and that's what our parents wanted to do. So that was cool. But she always had a job. She always wanted to have some of her own money. So, and I'll put that down in these speaker notes. Wanted her own money, and most of that money she spent on us kids. Okay. Okay. She had her own mind. Sometimes sarcastic, sometimes bombastic, but she had her own mind. And then in my notes, I'm going to put down here, she knew who she was. She did listen to other people's perspective, point of view, whatever, but she always brought that back and applied it to her own beliefs, and saw what things aligned with her beliefs and knowledge, and whether there was something in it that she could take from it, whether she would use part of that information in her life, whether it was politics, religion, parenting, or whatever. Some things she would say, well, yeah, I don't agree with that, and that was that. Another thing she would say, oh, that's pretty interesting. She loved to learn, at least from my perspective. Maybe that was part of the necessity of having me. I was kind of wild during those times. During now we would call that ADHD, right? But during my growing up, there was no such thing. So the doctors would say, oh, she's probably getting too much sugar. He's just being hyperactive. And so she tried really hard to really cut sugar back. And when she realized that didn't really change anything at all, then she kind of gave up on that and accepted me for who I was. Okay, so I put that down. She loved to learn. I know I put that down in the notes. That should have been my next section. Whether learning spiritual things, parenting, politics, or new job / life skills. After we were done with school and she got her part-time job, her full-time job, she had to learn new things, learn how to use new computers and all that. So okay, so that's my slide for independent. Now I'm going to insert new slide, we just click on a new slide by itself, and it should enter the exact same type we had last. Right? So independent. So this one's going to be strong. And again, I'm going to go to the home screen. I'm going to change the alignment to top. Everything else looks pretty good. So strong. So she endured challenges in her life. Now, those challenges could have been children when we were small, me in particular probably. Even though they loved to learn, neither of my parents finished college until much later. My dad went back to school. So they were always challenged with money, not knowing how to spend it, but not having it to spend. All right, she was very frugal and learned how to do a lot of things with very little. She dealt with health challenges during the pregnancy of my youngest sibling, my little brother, and then as a result had some surgery, and the surgery didn't go well, and it's been a challenge for her whole life, long after, having kids. She went through her mother having Alzheimer's and helping my grandfather care for her until it wasn't something that they were capable of. So she took, let's see this one. So strong, endured challenges, made do, no, more like made do, right? So this could be part of some of the other challenges, but like she would sometimes sew our clothes when they got a rip. I remember times when our dryer broke, and so we hung our clothes out on the line in the summertime to dry, or put them near the fire in the wintertime, near a wood stove. We never had a new car, so she had to make do with older cars that sometimes broke down, and that was just how it was. She was a strong example so let's write some speaker notes. Made do with money, car issues, older, fix your house that we kind of worked on. I mean, we couldn't afford to pay anyone to come and fix our plumbing or HVAC or anything like that, and so my dad was pretty handy. He had learned a lot of that stuff growing up from his family. They were also poor. They had built their own house a few times when they had been moving around, and so he had some experience, and So she was an example. Okay. Our house was almost always clean, and she took the time to teach us how to clean the house. Now, a lot of times we didn't want to to learn, and when we did, even when we didn't know how, we might not have done it correctly, but she was a good example in that way. She was a good example as what to us boys, right, to the three boys, what to look for in a wife, someone who would be a good mother. And for my sister, you know, how to be a good mother. So, and then the last slide, go insert new slide, is visionary. Now, my mom would always say things like they were a known fact, right? When you ... or after you ... right? And so when you go to college, right? After you serve a mission, that's a mission for our church, a service mission. It was 2 years. I spent 2 years in South America, and my wife spent 2 years in the Philippines, and I just had my last two sons come back. One was in Oklahoma, and one was in a little tiny island called Kiribati. It's spelled, when you look at the spelling, you would pronounce it, we would pronounce it Kiribati, but it's actually pronounced Kiribati. And so she would say things like, when you go to college, after you serve a mission, after you graduate, when you get married, when you have children, when, you know, this is her vision for us. You know, even though she didn't finish college, her vision for us was to be a little bit, do a little bit better than her and my dad did. And so this is always something that she would see and say and to us, and it became just a known thing that that's what we would do. I think teaching us how to do things for ourselves, doing chores, teaching us spiritual and religious lessons and life lessons, that she saw how these things would positively impact our life. Okay? So let's go back and look at the assignment and see how we did so far. Create a presentation, PowerPoint file, 3 to 5 slides, title and content, got that. We have a consistent theme, we use consistent slide layouts. We don't mix random styles. Our slides are clear and readable. They don't have too much text. They use some proper spacing. The visuals, an image. We have an image, a picture. It relates to the content. And I have speaker's notes on every slide. So this is it. That's all we need. So now we need to make sure we save this, make sure it's saved, and then we're going to export a PDF through PowerPoint. So we know it's saved because when we come back to the screen, we see this. Let's see if you can see that better. Maybe not. We see this little checkbox here, and that tells us that that it's saved. In the cloud, in our OneDrive. And yes, I am make sure that I am, under the school's OneDrive. Okay, so now we have to go to File, Export, Download as PDF. So we click Download. And then it goes in our Downloads folder, opens on our desktop. Okay. So now we have the PDF downloaded on our downloaded on our computer's downloads folder, but in the OneDrive we only have a PowerPoint folder. So we need to upload file, this PDF back up to our OneDrive folder, and then over on the PowerPoint we need to click these three buttons and click download, because we need both of these in our OneDrive to save for posterity. And then we need everything in the downloads folder so we can upload it to the week 7 assignment submission box. And for you guys it'll show right here, that submission. Okay, so that's all I have for this week. One lecture. I know it shows 2 here, but guess what? I'm going to remove that second one because we did it all in one. Nice. Okay, so thank you for watching these videos. I hope it's a help for you. I'm walking you through the assignment so that you can see every step of the way to get the full point grade. So if you just watch the videos, then you'll do great. And if you ever have any questions or need any help, reach out. I have a number you can text me at on the course syllabus. Feel free to text me anytime. When I'm asleep, my phone's off and I don't receive those texts forwarded to my phone, and then I'll answer the next day. Okay, so I look forward to grading your work. Starting Monday morning is usually when I start grading. I'll finish by either Monday or Tuesday, and then I always send out an email to let you know that everything's been graded. As a reminder, there's only 1 week left, right? Week 7 and then week 8, and then we're done. So make sure you check your grades, make sure you look for any missing assignments, or if you have a grade you didn't get full points on, see the comments I left for you. Most of the time I'm going to tell you what you did wrong and allow you to fix it and resubmit. Okay? So that's all I have. Thanks a lot. Again, a happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there, and mothers to be one day. And I look forward to grading your assignments. I'll see you next week.